What a game that was. Manchester City beating Arsenal 2-1 at the Etihad, and as an Arsenal fan, I'm not mad. Because this was not the game where we lost or potentially fumbled the league, or bottled as they like to say. It was the other games where we lost to Bournemouth last week, we drew to Brentford and then Nottingham Forest. For me, because in this game, we did not play badly. We had our chances. We played a good game. It was entertaining to watch. We had our chances. We could have drawn, we could have won, but we didn't do it. The final critical moments were not on Arsenal's side this time, as they haven't been for me, what I felt like over the last couple of years. But starting from the perspective of Manchester City, big win, man. Big win. Congratulations to them, because they, in the big moments, that's when they stepped up. The first goal, individual quality, Cherki, they're showing us what he does. Fantastic goal. And, obviously Donnarumma with a howler for their goal, but he stepped up, saving them 1v1 at Havertz, and the follow-up, crosses, corners, everything. And then the second goal, Nico O'Reilly, is not just the second goal. The entire match from Nico O'Reilly was great. And this guy is amazing. You can see the talent, the quality that this guy has. So, where do we go from here? Because this game was interesting for me for various different reasons. We saw the game in the Carabao Cup final where City just put their four up front and defended. And they did not press, they just waited for Arsenal to move. And I felt like they couldn't really do that today. And the main reason for that is Kai Havertz. Now people will say, Havertz, he missed the 1v1. He missed the header in the last second. And while I agree on the emotional side of that, there's no other player in this squad at striker that could get those chances. Maybe a Mikel Merino. Gyökeres, on the other hand, I would not feel confident that he will get those chances. If Gyökeres gets a chance, he's most likely to score. But those chances are far and few between them. So Havertz and this performance from him meant that we could play long. But I felt like we did not do that enough today. Not every time, most of the times he was dominant in the air, bringing the ball down. There was a couple of moments where you think, you need to do better. The Bernardo Silva situation where Bernardo Silva is the last man. You are this much bigger than him. Come on, just run past him. But what does he do? Handball. And it goes the other team's way. But Havertz, for me, if Havertz was fit and playing this season, it would be a completely different Arsenal. And it's not an excuse. I just think that Havertz is the type of striker, like a Firmino. He's not your prolific scorer. He's not the one that will get you 50 goals like a Haaland does. But what he does is makes the team and the players around him better. However, there's another side to that thing. And it's, okay, you make the other players better. But then you look, who are these other players? And they have been underperforming for me this season. And sure, you can go on about Arteta and tactics and coaching and whatnot. But on the pitch, it's the players that deliver. And our attackers, or mostly for our build-up in this game and throughout the season, has lacked that technical security. Because technically, these players are not bad, but you can see the difference to this Manchester City side. And this is a Manchester City that was knocked out by Real Madrid. So both of these teams, I feel like, are much more technically secure than Arsenal. So there were so many times where Arsenal played out from the back, beat the first press, and then you go on, you have to play the next pass up to the strikers or your attackers, and we failed. So we look at these situations where Arsenal put themselves in, which are decent situations. You play out the back, you create overload, you create some sort of advantage to you, but you fail. And then what happens? City go on attack and becomes this mounting pressure where eventually you will make a mistake. Something will happen. They will score because they have quality. So in the first half, City came out flying. In the first couple of minutes, hitting the post. Great chance for Haaland. Everything was looking like it was going through. And in my mind, there's always this thing where the first 10-15 minutes of an away game, just survive. Do not do anything too much. Just survive it. And I felt like you could see that in the first half and in the second half, the first 10 to 15 minutes, City were dominant. But Arsenal kind of grew slowly into the game. And up until Arsenal scored their first goal, I felt like Arsenal were in the game. After they scored, I don't know what this thing is, but they did not do enough. So After City then scored their second goal, that's when I felt like Arsenal weakened. And it's annoying and it's frustrating because you would imagine and hope that they would score. Of course, there was a couple of moments where Arsenal were great, like Eze hitting the post. And if you look at the images, it's this much from going in. And that's a title-winning thing, title-swinging action right there. Where, okay, sure, you might say maybe City going to score, Arsenal concede, whatever. But that moment right there is something we will look back and feel so bad about not scoring. The same goes with the Havertz situation, where we play this beautiful counter-attacking football, and Havertz is through with Donnarumma, and here Donnarumma redeems himself. Because despite Donnarumma not being the best at playing out the back, which is where he made his mistake, when it comes to shot stopping, this guy is the worst. I'm so tired of Donnarumma against Arsenal. He always performs against us. So that's why I was happy when he made that mistake. So we had the Havertz chance. We had the Eze shot off target on the post. But after that, it did not happen enough for me. What I'm happy about, though, is it did not feel like this team came to just defend, sit back, and hope they might nick a result. They were there. They wanted to press. They played up high. They were going man for man. At one point, you can see Gabriel in the Manchester City box because he was following Cherki all the way there. So this was not the normal situation where people say, haram ball. Arsenal were playing, and we tried, and they put in a respectable performance. So talking about Gabriel, I feel like this is a topic which needs to be discussed. Because this guy parading as one of the best center-backs in the world, while you have Saliba on the other side. For me, this is a clear distinction of showing what are you watching for. Gabriel gives you the moments. Gabriel gives you big tackles, emotions, everything like that. But the consistency from this guy is unfortunately not right there. And you can see, I feel like it's been so for half a year maybe. While he's a good defender, he's also a erratic player. Someone that will give the ball away, someone that will lose the duels. If you think about it, the goals Haaland has scored against Arsenal, if you look at him, it will always be when he was fighting with Gabriel, and Gabriel will lose. He will always lose these duels against him. And in my opinion, he should have been sent off. Because that action against Haaland, clear red card. If you go head to head and you make that type of motion, you should be sent off. So there we were lucky. I will not deny it. I will not say anything else. But Gabriel needs to deliver more consistently. And I don't think he has it in him because he's not that type of player. However, where he do shine is at the set piece situation, especially attack ones. And at this point, I feel like Arsenal is cursed. Because, like I said, Havertz missed chance, Eze hitting post, and then Gabriel hits the post from a header. And I'm thinking, we will not score today. Because sometimes you just know, it doesn't matter how well you play. Sometimes it does not want to happen. And it felt like that today. Not from the lack of being defeated or Arsenal playing badly. It wasn't just our day. And in these moments, in the title race, I've said you need to be lucky. Eze, this much from scoring. Gabriel hitting the post. And everything like that. And these fine margins have not been on Arsenal's side over the last couple of years. And maybe this is what will make us lose the title again. I don't feel defeated just yet. So while we lost today, this one feels different than the one against Bournemouth. Because Bournemouth, you expect to win. And we put in a poor, horrible performance. But here we played well. We could have at least nicked a draw. At least done something to give us something. And this is a type of mentality, intensity, and performance I want to see for the last 5 games. Because now, there are 5 games left for Arsenal to play, and all of them need to be won. All of these games will be in London, so you don't have to travel far, you don't have to do much. Win these 5 games, and I believe Arsenal will win the Premier League. Sure, now everything is in Manchester City's hand, because they will have a superior goal difference if they win the game in hand, and that's a big if, because there's no guarantees in football. So City need to win their last 6, and Arsenal need to just match their results, and I think we win the title. So while this loss feels bad, because you're never happy when your team loses, especially against your title rivals, there's still a chance. there's still that glimmer of hope, because this performance has shown me that these players are ready to fight. They will not just roll over and let other teams play against them. Give me this performance for the last 5 games of the Premier League and we will win the league. We need Havertz up top. We need Timber back. We need Calafiori back. Ødegaard, Eze firing. And we will do it. Let me know in the comments. Let me know what you think. Come on, Arsenal.